Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Horse Guy Mike show. Today, we're talking about the Preakness taking place this weekend at Pimlico, the second leg of the Triple Crown. I'm very excited to be joined by my two friends, Andrew Herco, Mr. White Wine Weather, and Johnny the Wire, Mr. Baltimore, Mr. Preakness himself. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, Mike.
Doing great. Andrew finished. We had to wait for Andrew to finish Ted Lasso, so I hope you give a good review on that. But yeah, I am Mr. Preakness. I went there 2 years ago. I wish I could go back every year and have some crab and some natty bow and watch some horses run. It's like the best weekend of the whole year, in my opinion. So let's get a winner this week. And by the way, congratulations to Andrew. He's the only one last week who even remotely wanted to pick Mage to win. I think he was your second choice. And right on time, he left to San Antonio.
What a perfect
so bad.
What a perfect frame to be frozen on.
We salute to you, Andrew, in San Antonio.
Awesome.
Well, anyway, Mike, how did your derby go with the Church of Kingsbarns? How did that go? How's the church?
Yeah, Kingsbarn, I was a big fan of his. He was a false prophet. I heard the good word that a horse that was unraced at 2, coming off of 3 starts, coming into his 4th start in the Derby, was going to win, and I was right. And it was Mage.
It was Mage.
It was
Mage
Mage.
Is on the justified path. Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting my signals mixed up, but I think Kingsbarn is going to come back later this summer. Traver, Haskell, Pennsylvania Derby. He's gonna dominate those circuits.
Dwyer.
Yeah.
Grade 3 Dwyer.
We'll
hey, he's back from San Antonio.
There we go. You got frozen on the salute.
Man, John was giving me some props there too, and I froze right in the middle.
Just call you Randy Moss.
Well, that's my guy, Randy. But feeling good after having Mage in a daily double last Kentucky Derby. We're gonna roll it forward, make some more money.
Nice hit.
Awesome. Well, today we're going to go through the Preakness really quick, and then we're going to dive into the whole pick 5 sequence leading up to the Preakness. Because I think we're all kind of on agreement that our Preakness discussion will be fairly short. So we want to dive into the card before that as well. So with all that said, we'll dive right into the Preakness and give out our top picks. And I have a feeling we're all on the same horse here. I'm going to kick it to Andrew first. Andrew, who's your top pick in the Preakness?
I like Mage a little bit going into the last race, enough to put some money on it to hit a daily double. So definitely like Mage going into this one, but I think there's one other horse that could, if it gets a perfect race and exceeds expectations, which would be National Treasure, the old Bobby Baffert. If it gets to the lead, who knows? Maybe it's kind of feeling good and runs the whole way, but I think Mage is just going to be able to get whatever run he wants and won't be able to chase him down. So I'm thinking Mage on top, pretty good. With the only consideration would be National Treasure. I thought First Mission had a chance, but it sounds like you might have more information on him moving forward. But Mage on top for sure. Maybe National Treasure on top in some of my bets, but I like Mage a lot.
All right. So I'll address First Mission. There's a rumor going around Twitter right now that he might be scratching. As of time of recording, there's no official announcement or anything. People are retracting statements saying he might still be running. So as of now, he's still running. We'll see if that stays true or if the rumors turn out to be true or not. The First Mission does seem like the obvious second choice contender, having won the Lexington and coming back here fresh, but I don't think he stands a chance. I think Mage is going to run right by him. I think National Treasure and First Mission will be 1-2 when they hit the turn. And Mage is just going to swing around wide and power home, win by 3 or 4 lengths. That's how I see this race. Johnny, how do you see it?
I see it almost identically. And I'm going to piggyback off that. I hope First Mission runs because I am fading this horse off all my bets. I'm with Andrew. I think National Treasure. I don't think he's going to go gate to wire. I just don't think he's that good, but I think he's going to be on the lead, and I do think he's going to run on the lead, maybe all the way into that home stretch. But once he hits that home stretch, I think there's no way he's going to hold off Mage. Mage jumped up so high on the speed figures, and like it wasn't like a fluky win either, right? Like Rich Strike was a fluky win last year, but Mage, I watched the replay, like he was moving strong, like he got out slow out of the gate. That's the one knock, and he keeps doing it. But he was moving strong down the backstretch, and he went the widest of all the horses. But man, he just had a huge run all the way home, and like it didn't look like it was fluky. It just looked like he's coming into his own as a racehorse. And so the only question for me is that can he come back in the 2 weeks, just and run the same race? And there was a video on Twitter of him after he galloped around. He was leaving the track, and he reared up and wanted to go back out and run some more. So I think he's doing fine. I think he's going to blow this field away. I think he's going to win by 3, 4, 5 lengths. So Mage on top for me. I'm going to put all my money into Mage.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm going to be singling Mage in everything. And yeah, I don't see how he loses that two weeks of rest maybe with fresh horses, but he's just significantly better than all of them. I mean, 105 Beyer last out. That's significantly higher than any of these horses have done. We thought maybe the 1.25 miles might be too long for him in the Derby, which is why John, you and I faded him. Yeah. We thought maybe it was a problem. Well, he's cutting back here. Yeah,
he's clearly can get the distance.
Yeah, so clearly that distance isn't an issue. I mean, that might be an issue in the Belmont, which I depending on how he wins here or not, I may or may not play him in the Belmont. Even if he wins, if it's not super impressive, I'll probably fade him there. But for this race where they're cutting back in distance, I think it's right in his wheelhouse. If he breaks even relatively well, he can be closer to the lead. He doesn't need to be fourth from last like he was in the Derby. Because in his first race, his maiden, he went, basically gate to wire. In the Fountain of Youth, he was on the lead. He was in the front 3 or 4 the entire race. Just kind of ran out of steam in there in the end. And then the Florida Derby, he broke horribly and was still able to get up for second. So we don't really know his true style. Does he prefer to be on the lead? Does he prefer to come from the back of the pack? We don't know. It's kind of race dependent, which is what makes him so good. He's so versatile. He doesn't have one style. It's not a horse like, Medina Spirit, who if they're not in the lead, they're not going to win. It's not a horse like Tapit Trice, who needs to come from way behind to win and doesn't have the stamina to be up front the whole time. So I'm excited to watch Mage. First mission, like Andrew said, has a chance to go gate to wire. If they're running like, 24-48, maybe Mage doesn't have a pace to close into. But then you're also hoping he's far back.
So close in whatever's in front of him. Yeah. I'm just going to say it's going to be exciting. We haven't had a horse go for the Triple Crown in 5 years. So I just want him to win just so we even have that Belmont day where we've got all the hype around the big race at the end.
Yeah, I'm glad Mage is running in this race. Give some juice to this race. Any chance that National Treasure could pull Medina Spirit and go gate to wire? Or do you think it's not fast enough?
I don't think he's fast enough. I mean, he had things kind of go his way in those races in California. I mean, he hasn't won since his maiden. He was in the American Pharaoh as a 2-year-old, was in second the entire time, didn't make up any grounds. Breeders' Cup Juvenile made up a little bit of ground, but not really.
I mean, speed figures aren't too far off from Mage on Brisnet, but
except for the Derby went.
Yeah.
Well, Mage made the jump in the Derby. He went up to a 103, and National Treasure's highest is a 97. So National Treasure would have to find that Mage run, and I don't think it's in him, to be honest with you. Like I'll piggyback on Mike. Like I watched his replays, and he just doesn't finish his races at all. He just kind of lopes in there at the end. So I don't see it.
The Santa Anita Derby went perfectly for him. Like he sat off the pace in 3rd place, and then he was kind of with Practical Move as they hit the turn. And you're like, oh, it's going to be a cool good stretch battle between these two. And then he just disappeared and Practical Move powered on.
Skinner kind of went right in front of him.
Oh, he blew Skinner ran right by him like he was standing.
I'm thinking what if he's on the lead? What if he's on the lead though? No one runs in front of his face.
Yeah, that's only That would be why I'm playing him. Like I'm gonna play him in 3rd place on a trifecta, because I think he will be on the lead, and I think he'll go a long way, but I think ultimately he'll just flatten out. But I think he might hold on for 3rd,
Yeah, I mean, I think he's better than most of these other horses, like Chase the Chaos, who's a complete toss. Coffee with Chris, I think is
Better
a
than
complete.
Well, maybe.
Red Route 1 is a closer who might have some interest. He came back to win the Bathhouse Row Stakes after that horrible Arkansas Derby, but I don't know. Perform also has some interest
Oh,
there.
I was gonna say about Red Route 1. He's my top horse to finish second. I am a little worried though. Like I watched his replays. He's further back than you would think even on the sheets. Like he's so far back in all of his races that he gives himself way too much to do. But he does close like every single time. He always brings a late run. So I think he could definitely get up for third, maybe second. So I want to just mention him because I'm gonna try to hit a little Mage over Red Route 1 exactly because I think that'll have some value, especially if First Mission stays in the race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you look at the you look at the sire. You look at the sire and the trainer on the horse. Who is it? Gunrunner and Asmussen. John can't quit those two.
Cannot quit them. Hey, Disarm was my long shot, and he ran fourth in the Derby. So
yeah, he
that
ran
was
good.
a good pick by me. He beat Kingsbarns.
You're not first, you're last.
All right, so I got one more horse I want to talk about. I watched Perform. Now he doesn't look like much on the sheets, but that horse he can run. Like he's interesting to me. Like I know his speed figures are a little bit low, but his last win was crazy. Like he was like weaving in and out of horses, and he stumbled to his knees out of the gate. So like he actually does have better gate speed than you would think. He's not like a late runner. Like he could be up near the front. So Perform, I might throw him in an exacta too. I think he's under the radar pretty good.
Sounds like a little Mage Florida Derby trip on the race before, maybe if he gets a clean trip, he could outperform. Outperform.
That's a good point. Like he was in last place out of the gate because he stumbled and he had all this traffic. He was eating dirt, and then he got to the rail coming for home, and he like went in and out like this, and he got up to win. So I mean, I think he's got some talent. So I'm definitely going to use him underneath too. So those are my three: National Treasure, Red Route 1, and Perform. I'm going to try to get those guys underneath Mage.
Yeah, I'd probably prefer Blazing Sevens as my like underneath. He was impressive as a 2-year-old, came back at 3, first off layoff in the Fountain of Youth. It was kind of a no-show there. But Forte blew the tires off that whole field. So just draw a line to the Fountain of Youth. In the Bluegrass, he got third behind Verifying and Tapatrice, who are both very good. And I think if either of them were in this race, we'd be talking about them. I mean, he was well back, six lengths back, but he beat the rest of the field pretty handily. So I think with a good amount of layoff, with Chad Brown choosing to skip the Derby to come here, targeting cloud computing, early voting, you got 2 horses that Chad did that with and won. I don't want to leave Blazing Sevens off, so I'll probably have Blazing Sevens keyed in second and third for me.
Okay. I don't think he's as good as those other horses that won the Preakness, but who knows? What do I know?
Yeah.
I never win these damn races anyway, so who knows? I think the point is we want to try to beat First Mission getting second, right?
Yeah. Assuming he runs. We all want him to run because we all want to play against him.
Right.
No, I would have him second.
You're going to key him in. You're just going to do straight exacta, Mage over First Mission.
Yeah, I'll probably do that heavy.
Heavy. All right. Was there anything else you wanted to add to the Preakness before we move on to the start of the pick 5?
Go Mage.
All right. We're all on Mage here. We're all big fans of Mage. So hopefully we can have Mage singled at the end of our pick 5 tickets, kind of spread a little bit earlier to get some value because we got a lot of maybe not good quality races from like field perspectives, but these are good betting races with a lot of like equal horses, kind of like long shots who have good chances. So good chance to make money. And we want that because Mage is going to be a pretty short price. So being able to get value earlier in the card, especially on this big long pick 5 sequence, I think it's going to be important. So we'll jump back to the beginning of the pick 5 with race 9. So race 9, that's going to be the Skip At Stakes. Listed stakes, $100,000 for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs, 1-turn sprint. Favoritism on, I believe it's the number 2 horse, Beguine. Beguine. Yeah, so Well, John, let's start with you. Who was your top choice in this
Yeah.
race? I went 4 deep here.
I went 2 A horses and 2 B, so I could be up to 4 deep. But my 2 A horses are the 2 Begin, and then the 7 Edie, Meanie, Miney, Mo, the Maryland bred. I really like her. She's probably my top pick. I think she's doing really well. So I'm pretty chalky, I guess, on the top line there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've got Begin as my, sole A, but I also went with the horse rate to the inside or right to the outside of her. I'm the boss of me. The number 3 horse coming off a win at Oaklawn. Myrat Ortiz is getting the mount for the first time. So definitely a jockey upgrade. I think there's a good shot here. 4 to 1's not too bad. Speed figures are fairly close to what everyone else is running. So 2 and 3 are going to be the top choices for me. And then I also went with the 10 Golden Effect, who's coming off of another win at Laurel. And then the number 13, erase everything I just said. I don't actually like the 10. I want the 6.
Here, I like the 6. I like the 6 and the 3. I like all the horses you just mentioned.
Yeah, 6
2,
is
3, 6.
Yeah, 6 is gunning. Yeah, got second last time. Had 2 wins right before that. Speed figures are relatively good. Got Kenny McPeak again, jockey upgrade to Flavian Pratt. So we're looking good there. And then the number 9 horse, Olivia Darling. I liked this horse a lot at Tampa. Raced on the Florida or the Tampa Derby undercard and got second. But it was a good second. I mean, lost to a good horse. Cutting back to 6 furlongs from the last race was at 7 furlongs. So we'll see. It's a good chance there. 8 to 1. It's a good price. So I'm 4 deep here. 2, 3, 6, 9. John, what are your other horses here?
I like the 2, 3, 6, and then the 7, the Maryland bred Edie, Meanie, Mighty, Mo. But yeah, I think I will say in general, like they set up this pick 5 to have just bombs in the first 4 races and then kind of single Mage at the end. So I think you got to go deep pretty much in all of these. And yeah, I like it. Andrew, who do you got?
Yeah, it's a tough one for me. I like Begin on top. This might be a race where you just hit the all button, survive in advance. I'll listen to my boys Randy Moss and Jerry Bailey on the call, get their analysis 10 minutes before the race. That's might be my strategy this race. Just get all the data I can.
Just feel
it 3 minutes before, then you make your pick.
I like it.
First
Just
race of the day.
I mean,
First race of the day, you could do that. But Begin is who I like.
Yeah, you go ahead, hit all, just make it a pick 4 sequence, single the Mage, so you only really have to handicap 3 races.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Make it simple for you. I don't hate it, especially in this race, which I think there's not a real clear winner. When in the next 3 legs, I think there is at least a favorite that's worth playing in. So none of us have a serious opinion here. I'm going with 2, 3, 6, 9. Andrew's going all. So let's move on to race number 10. The Jim Mackey Turf Sprint, 5 furlong turf sprint for 3-year-olds. What?
It's Jim McKay. He's a
Jim McKay.
Jim McKay.
Jim McKay.
He's a famous broadcaster.
Jim
ABC
Mackey.
for decades. Come on, man.
The Jim Mackey Turf Sprint. All right, Jim McKay. John, you seem to have a strong opinion here. Let's kick it to you.
I actually do. So yeah, I'm actually 4 deep, but there's one horse that I think is sneaky, and that's the number 6. That's right. He looks like the speed of the speed to me, which at Pimlico is really dangerous on a 5 furlong turf sprint. You have to remember that it's 5 furlongs, not 5.5. And that's an extra, the 5.5 is an extra 110 yards. So a lot of these horses that cannot win at 5.5, they can win at 5. And I think that's right. He's one of those, like, he's got so much early speed that he needs the flat 5 to be able to win. So I think he'll be able to pop the gate and clear. And I think if he gets on the lead, he'll be super dangerous to beat. So I like the number 6. That's right on top, but I am 4 deep. So I got some other ones I can talk about.
Okay. Andrew, did you have
What
a
are the
strong
odds,
opinion?
by the way?
Uh, 12, what was it? 12-1 on that's right.
Ooh. Should I single that if I feel so good about it?
I've got a bomb here that I love. So, Andrew, do
Okay.
you have any
All right,
thoughts on this race?
I'm kind of gathering all my thoughts here going right now. Wrote down Coppola and Uncle Ernie, but looking at the 3-horse, you could probably sway me into the 3-horse here. Ran in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint in November, so then it had a long layoff. Didn't race too well last time out, but who knows? Get
that
his feet under
Artemis City Limits?
City Limits. Yeah, I might be. You can talk me into Artemis right now. I think that might be who I fall on.
Yeah, I mean Artemis City Limits. Good horse. He ran well last year. Was in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, so he's got the class. Came back off that layoff in the Shakertown, just faded pretty hard, and that's again 5.5 furlong sprint. So he's closer to the front. So maybe 5 furlongs is more his style. He was entered at Churchill on the undercard of the Derby. Scratched that day to come here instead. So I think maybe they thought that this might be a softer spot for him to land. I don't know if maybe they thought, he just wasn't doing well that day and they'll try something else, or maybe they just saw the draw, didn't like it, said, hey, Preakness Weekend has a good race too. Let's go there and have an easier win. He's a graded stakes experienced runner. You can do worse. I think I like him. I'll have him. He's got Irad aboard. Always good to have. Michael Maker, Irad. Not my top choice, and I hate including the favorite if I'm not like in love with them. But I think there's only like 4 horses that have a good shot here, and he's one of them.
Is he the favorite?
Yeah, but from a value perspective, if you don't love this horse, you should toss it off your ticket because you're going to get so much value in all these other horses.
And that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I wrote down that horse. He looks like he's over the hill. Like Mike kind of hit on it. Like he wasn't doing well after coming off that Breeders' Cup, and they scratched him out of the bigger race. And it's like they're dropping him down in class to try to get a win. I don't know. It just seems like he's not doing well. So for me, he's out.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go right to his outside for my long shot of the card. Horse I absolutely love. Number 4, Uncle Ernie, 20-1. Love this horse.
Ooh. That's what Andrew just said.
Wait, I don't like the horse anymore. I'm looking at him more. He's not a turf horse.
We got a little fight now. Okay.
Not a turf horse.
He's not a turf horse. He's not a turf horse. You're absolutely right. So what's going on in Utah? Okay. Why are they running him on turf?
Tell us why, Brian Windhorst.
So he has great early speed from Timeform US, 116 early speed, great late speed, 72 late speed. Both of those are better than Artemis City Limits. I know that his figures are mainly on dirt, but he has a style that fits turf. You're getting 20-1 on him. I'm not saying this horse has the best shot to win, but I'm saying this horse has a good enough shot at 20-1 for me to include on my card. 88 buyer last out, which is really good considering what he's running against. 84 buyer before that in a sprint at Gulfstream. He's run at Parks. He's run at Gulfstream. He's getting Paco aboard, who knows the circuit well. Like Paco's a good enough rider where you don't see it as a downgrade from anyone, and he's familiar with this circuit to where he knows to run. He's not one of those people like Irad who rides at Pimlico once a year. He's in this neck of the woods all the time. So you're getting an experienced rider there. He's working out well. I think 20-1 you could do worse. So I'm including my top choice. I mean, I got Artemis City Limits, I got Uncle Ernie, and then I've got 2 more that I want to talk about too. The first being the number. No, I'll mention my 2 and then I'll kick it to you. I got the number 10 Coppola, 6-1. Dale Romans, John Velasquez had 100 buyer last out, won by 4 lengths at an allowance at Churchill. Did great. Coming back off a short layoff, ran on May 2nd, so Derby weekend. on the undercard. And then before that, was doing okay, but nothing great. But I think if you see the trainer, especially Dale Romans, have a win like that and be confident enough to wheel him back in 2 weeks, that says something to me. So Coppola is my next choice. And then the other one I think he's also eligible, is number 13, Beer Can Man. And if he draws into the field, then I'm going to unload. Because I think he's a cool looking horse. Skit Flavian Pratt. Phil D'Amato is shipping him in from California for a reason. I don't think Phil D'Amato would ship a horse from Kentucky and California all the way out here if they didn't have a chance. I think he's very smart with where he places his horses. So those are my 4. But I love Beer Can Man. I'm hoping he draws in.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I would have liked. Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, I kind of reviewed all the PPs. Beer Can Man is my number 1 horse this race. Love this horse.
Woo!
Dad, his name
Okay,
is
so
Can the Man. Mom is Cheesecake. What a name! And then Beer Can Man is great. I mean, it has
it's a great. It is.
It's one of it's racing G2s, G3s, flying the G6 probably. So,
All right, John.
Yeah, man, he's a very good horse, but see, I'm not betting on him because of that 13 post, because going 5 furlongs, man, that's so hard to come from all the way on the outside. He's got to get all the way over and then also finish down the lane. So, I mean, maybe he's that good where he can do it, but I just think the post is going to kill him. So, to your point, Mike, I think Phil D'Amato shipped him out to win this race, but obviously he didn't control what post position he got. So I think that's what is ultimately going to do him in. But, I mean, we've gone through the field and we haven't mentioned our boy, Tyler Gaffleone. Let me go get him.
Oh, shit. Who's he on?
Who is he on? Oh, Smoking Jay. This horse.
Smoking Jay, baby. We're going to be smoking some Jays. Woo!
How many
runner.
races did Gaff win in Churchill? Big gooser.
On
He
dirt.
dominated the Oaks. The Oaks absolutely dominated, but then he didn't do so good on
Fucking
Derby.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, there's and he's on Smoking Jay, and Smoking Jay is a late runner. He might this race is going to have a ton of pace to it. It's going to be blazing fast up front, and I think Smoking Jay, who knows, he might pick him up and put him down. Gaff gets the dub.
This would be
Gaff.
This would be a total Gaffleone win.
It would be. You get like a mid-range, a mid-odds runner to just like close into a fast pace. Yeah. No, I mean,
it's like a perfect trip.
Yeah. If I think I'll add Smoking Jay if Beer Can Man doesn't draw in, or if there's another scratch at one of my horses, he'd be my next one. He won that first race on Fountain of Youth Day, like the first race, and it was impressive. Looked really good. I had a 95 buyer that day. Came back, didn't run so well on the good turf at Keeneland. So we'll see. I think he's definitely worth playing.
I also like the 1-2, nothing better. He's also fast out of the gate, but I think that's right. We'll get in front, but if he doesn't, maybe the 1 gets out in front and goes gate to wire. So I'm on 1, 5, 6, 10. I like Coppola too. So those are mine.
All right, Andrew. Anything
Beer
else?
Can Man. Beer Can Man. Coppola, Artemis. Beer Can Man heavy. I might single it.
All right, I love it. All right, let's go ahead and move on to race 11, the Maryland Sprint Stakes, presented by Big Ass Fans. Grade 3, 6 furlongs on the dirt for 3-year-olds and up. So we're seeing a lot of some familiar faces here for a nice sprint race. Got a horse I loved on the Derby Trail a few years ago, Prevalence. Hasn't done anything. Yeah. He tricked us into thinking he was a good horse when he won a big race. He won the Commonwealth at Keeneland last year, and tricked us into thinking he was back as like, oh yeah, he's a good sprinter now, and then nothing since then. So, John, I'll toss it to you. I have a single in this race who I love. So I'm gonna push the ball to you first. Tell me how you're seeing it.
Pump fake. I'm gonna throw it right back to you. Let's hear your single.
Okay. I'm gonna single the number 8 horse, straight no chaser, 3-1, second choice. This horse was a monster its last race out, 101 buyer, won the race by 7 lengths at Oaklawn. Fast 6 furlong track. That's what he's going to hopefully be getting this weekend. And that was the first time it was ridden by John Velasquez. First time it got out of California. So you had this horse racing in California with Maldonado out there, racing in a grade 1, grade 3, kind of too much, too quick for that. Finally get him out of California. Finally give him a chance to get a different rider, and just dominated. Maybe it's a Lasix thing. Who knows? But I think this horse is going to be a straight single for me. I don't think anyone else in this field towers over the field. You've got Nakatomi, who is kind of hit or miss. But if this horse runs even close to that Oaklawn allowance race, then no one else in this field is going to catch him. So that's going to be my hot straight single for this race. John, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I initially overlooked straight no chaser just because I saw that optional claimer 50, but everything you said about the grade 1 that he ran in, and it was just too much. Like, I think you're absolutely right. I think they built this horse's confidence back up, and now he's got another kind of easy field here, a little bit harder, obviously, but a field he could definitely get out on the lead and win gate to wire again. So you're selling me. I might scratch out all these other horses, and I'm going to go 2 deep now. I love straight no chaser, but if there's one horse that I think could beat him, it's the 9 Hello Hot Rod. He's kind of more of a local chance, but Brittany Russell is getting JV and Toledo to ride him, and they win at about 40% over the last 60 days when that jockey trainer get together. So I think Hello Hot Rod, I think he's going to be live, and if straight no chaser isn't dominant as he was, or he gets hooked in a speed duel, maybe Hello Hot Rod can come in and clean it up late. But I'm coming around on your pick, Mike. I think straight no chaser. It's his race to lose, and you got to bet like it. So give me 2 deep in here, 8, 9.
All right. And I was against this horse just because I mentioned to you earlier, Brittany Russell has another horse in this race, the number 10 horse, Where Was Craig? And her husband's riding that horse. So I was like, oh, obviously she's going to give her husband the better mount. But that's not
JV
always,
and Toledo's top.
yeah, I mean, maybe it's not always how it works out. Sheldon Russell's been riding the number 10 horse a couple times. JV and Toledo's been riding the other horse a couple times. It's just how it shakes. So maybe I'm not a fan of like local horses in these like big day races. I think a lot of times they look very impressive on the sheets, and you're like, I'm going to pick the local horse who knows the track, and I don't think it ever works out. I can't like think of like one that yeah. I can't think of like a big one. I remember if there was one that you loved in the Preakness a couple years ago, or was the Black Eyed Susan, who you were like couldn't wait to bet, and I can't remember the name of it now. It came off like 7 straight wins.
Not Always Dreaming. Always Mining.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yep. Always Mining.
But he won like 6 stakes races in a row coming in. Like he was just dominating everybody. So. But yeah, he didn't do shit.
Yeah. So I'm always against kind of like local horses.
I also like straight no chaser, and we didn't comment on the owner of straight no chaser, which is my racehorse. Isn't that what you guys dabble in?
We both dabble a little bit in my racehorse. I've got a 2-year-old, a pair of 2-year-olds that I'm invested in. John's got a 2-year-old as well. Nice.
But
yeah, my girl's right now. Mike's 2-year-old is about to run soon, right?
She should. She's pointing for either Churchill or Belmont in the next like couple weeks, so should have an update soon. Her name's Guinevere. Keep an eye out for Guinevere.
Couple bombers in this race. I don't even know if they're bombers, but the 2-horse Prevalence coming back to the dirt.
He's a bum. We just trust us, man. That horse will let you down, dude. He is a bum.
Hey. All right.
Save money.
I'm not saying I'm going to bet on it, but hey, it's there if you want.
If that horse knocks me out of pick 5, I might quit. I might quit sport. To be honest with you.
I mean, you haven't hit a bet, like you haven't hit one bet forever, so like it probably will. Then also Nakatomi. I can't believe John didn't mention this this horse, Nakatomi, probably named after greatest movie of all time, Die Hard. And kind of into
I had
our
him written
Asian,
down right there.
yeah, kind of also a Asian word like our last name, Herko. So in our roots there, and Gaffleon is on it too. So I mean, that's like the trifecta right there, Nakatomi.
Gaffleon's on Tommy.
Yeah.
He's back. He's back on my ticket. Yeah, you got to go with Nakatomi Plaza, man.
Yeah,
You gotta go.
Gotta go there. I mean, it beat it worse than
Yeah,
Fort Hill
gotta go.
like last year. But
Yeah,
Oh, didn't Nakatomi? Can you guys look it up on the sheets? Didn't
Yeah, I got
Nakatomi
it.
beat Endorse last year?
yeah,
that's what he just said. That's what Andrew just said.
Oh,
Endorsed
sorry.
in
Okay,
Fort
I didn't
Hill,
hear that.
yeah.
Yeah, and Endorse is like a grade 1 winner now, or grade 2 winner. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, he's got a shot.
I think
and then, I mean,
Nakatomi is the logical favorite, and if you're going to go too deep, like he'd be the second one that you'd want to include. His speed figures, I mean, last
is he the
buyers,
favorite?
he is the favorite. Yeah, 5-2.
What is straight no chaser?
3-1.
All right.
So they're pretty equal.
It sounds like an exacta box for me, for all you gamblers out there.
Patented first and second choice exacta box. That's the Andrew
Oh,
Herco
yeah.
move.
Oh, yeah.
TM. But no, Nakatomi's good. He's had a couple duds thrown up, but he's still putting. I mean, they're graded stakes that he's having duds in, so it's not like he's
Exactly.
running badly in allowances, or listed stakes. He just hasn't been doing it. Cutting back in distance. He was at 7 furlongs last time at Keeneland, so maybe
Doesn't look like the strongest field either this race. So
yeah. So I think he's getting class relief. He's getting a cutback in distance. Fifth off layoff? I don't think that's an angle, but yeah, third off layoff. Yeah, third off layoff. I forgot that he ran after the Breeders' Cup. So third off layoff, class relief. I think it's a good angle here.
Yeah. This grade 3 is like the perfect example of when you have a horse like Straight No Chaser coming up in class, and then a horse like Nakatomi coming down, and they kind of meet in the middle. That's like the perfect example of a grade 3 race right here.
Yeah. So all right. So we're all kind of on Straight No Chaser, sprinkling a little Nakatomi, and John's got his local boy there that he's gonna play himself in. Hello Hot Rod. All right. Let's move on to the last leg of our race before the Preakness, and we already know how that one goes. Race number 12, the James W. Murphy Stakes, 1 mile on the turf for 3-year-olds. This race is kind of funny. It's a lot of like horses who maybe tried the Derby Trail, have tried a ton of dirt, who are moving to turf. So you're not getting a ton of turf experience in this, and especially not a lot of turf routing experience. So a lot of question marks for these horses. Maybe some of them ran on synthetic, maybe some of them ran on dirt. Favoritism on the Nagarok, the number 9 horse, 8-5, pretty heavy favoritism for a field like this. John, I know you like Nagarok. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm gonna use him, but I'm not thrilled about it. And like you're right, the price is way too low because he's been running in these big races, but he's not winning them. And he kind of flattens out in the stretch every time. He's not like he's surging late, you know. So he could easily lose this race in my book. But I think you also have to use him as a defensive use. So I don't have too much great to say about him, but other than put him on your tickets, please.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Andrew, did you have any strong opinions on this race?
I do. I like the 1 horse. Fantastic again. Got 3rd place to 2 fills. I don't care if it was 7.5 lengths. I don't care if it was a mile behind him. 2 fills ran great in the Derby. This horse kept up with him for a minute. I think it was leading that race. Now he cuts back in distance. I think it could run pretty hot. 3 Chimneys Farms. They do good things over there. So Wesley Ward, my guy. Fantastic again.
Yeah, the only thing with Fantastic again is that race was on synthetic. He raced he raced 3 times on synthetic, and he raced 2 times on dirt before that. He hasn't raced on turf since his maiden, which was at 6 furlongs, and he got destroyed in that race. So
okay,
it's a question mark. I mean, people say a lot like turf and synthetic are closer than synthetic and dirt. So if he's running well on synthetic, maybe that translates to turf a little bit more. And so he's running well. I mean, 85 buyer, 2 back, 87 buyer last out, even though they lost. That would be good enough to win this race. So again, we talked about the question marks for these horses. This is one that has a big question mark. Will his synthetic pedigree transfer over to turf? We'll see. I think it's worth a shot. He's second choice. So maybe it's not worth it on the price, but I think he's worth playing.
Yeah, I have him on my B line, so I would probably play it as well. So
Yeah.
not thrilled about it either. Like the top choices are not sexy at all, but it's almost like you got to use them defensively.
Yeah.
Especially in this race. I don't know who to pick, but who are you thinking, Mike?
I like the number 3 horse. So I mentioned I want horses that have shown that they can win on turf. The number 3 horse, Western Yarn, has won 2 races at Tampa on the turf there, going 2 turns, came back for another chance at Tampa, lost to a very good horse in Talk of the Nation, who was supposed to run on the Derby undercard, scratched at like the last minute. I think as they were loading, Talk of the Nation was scratched. But I was really excited to see Talk of the Nation on that Derby card that Web Slinger ended up winning that race. So I was a little disappointed. So Western Yard, 3rd place behind Talk of the Nation and Mo Stash. Both of those horses are pretty good. 81 buyer in that race where he lost. So I think if you're getting a horse at 10-1 who has turf experience and was racing against fairly good turf horses, I'm going to choose that horse over a lot of these question mark horses. I think Fantastic again is worth playing just for the mystery of like, will his synthetic form transfer over? And then Nagarok is clearly the best horse from a figure standpoint and from an experience standpoint, but we'll see how it kind of translates.
Yeah, I'm going to give your horse a second look here. That was pretty interesting stuff you said about him. My long shot is the number 7, Kingfish Stevens. I think, he's coming off. Is he coming off 1 or 2 wins? Is he undefeated on turf, I think?
No. Oh, yeah. No. He got
He had a loss?
He got second in his last race.
Okay. But I feel like he was closing into it and he looked like he might win. So he's got a 1st and a 2nd in his 2 races on turf in his career. And he's kind of flip-flopped back and forth between turf and dirt. But who is riding him though? The hottest jockey on planet Earth right now. Javier Castellano. He's going to do the old daily double to end the day. Kingfish Stevens right into Mage. Boom, boom. 2 wins. Castellano ends the day hot. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I thought it was okay. I left him off because, again, like you said, he's bouncing back and forth. He can't find a surface he likes. That was at 1 mile and a 16th, and he closed into it. So I think cutting it back in distance to 1 mile is not going to help. His speed figure wasn't that great either, 79 buyer, compared to some of these other mid 80s. You don't know. So maybe 2nd time routing on turf in a row with the same jockey. Maybe that's an angle worth playing. I just think for my price, I think I would leave him off.
Yeah. I mean, dude, they're all lies. It is what it is.
Yeah. Andrew, any final thoughts on this race?
This is one of those days this is one of those days you take some swings, and if you hit, it's gonna pay big.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it. None of these favorites are super favorites, so kind of try to play some options underneath. But I think I like the favorites in this race. Fantastic and Nagarok.
All right. Sounds good. So that goes over our entire pick 5 ticket. I'll read out my pick 5 ticket. Race 9 will go with the 2, 3, 6, 9. Race 10 will go 3, 4, 10, 13. Race 11, singling the 8. Race 12, 1, 3, 9. Race 13, singling the 3 Mage. $24 ticket. Pretty light. John, you got your ticket?
Yeah. So my first leg, I'm just going 2-7 on my A line. Begin and that other Eaty Meaty Mighty Mo. And then I got for the turf sprint, I got 1, 5, 6, 10, the 2 speed horses, Smoke and Jay. And then I'm not singling straight no chaser. I'm going to go Nakatomi, straight no chaser, Hello Hot Rod. And then in the last turf race there, I think I'm between three or four horses. So let's say I go 3 deep. That puts me also at a $24 ticket, singling Mage at the end.
All right. And Andrew, I know your ticket's kind of all over the place. That's more of a day of thing.
But currently all Beer Can Me, Coppola, Straight No Chaser, Nakatomi, Fantastic again, Nagarok, Mage. I think that might be all favorites except for that first race.
I think you're right. It's like you picked
Well,
the
so
top two choices. Yeah.
How many?
What?
How many horses are in the first leg?
8. 1, 2, 3, 9, maybe 10.
First leg, 10.
10. So you have 80. So that means you have 80 options. So that's a $40 pick 5.
It's not bad.
Yeah. So we'll see on race day. Maybe we can make a group
Split it
ticket
with
for
me.
the 3 of us. We'll see what we can do. But before we leave,
I think
want
the point is not swings and hit big, baby.
Yeah. All right. So before we head out, want to talk about one last race, and that's the Friday feature, the Black Eyed Susan, the race for fillies. We got a really heavy favorite there in Feza. John, I know you're kind of want to take a little swing against Feza. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've got two long shots. I think they're both 10 to 1 that I want to play against Feza, or at least try to for a little bit of money, not my whole bankroll, but I really like the one Sacred Wish. She got second place in the Gulfstream Park Oaks, and she was closing into that one. And that was the first time she ever raced against other winners. And so now she's coming back. Second race versus winners. A lot of times you'll see a horse, they're not, now they understand I'm racing against quality horses against me, and they'll give an even better effort. So I think her along the rail, I think she's sneakily alive in this race. So I really like the one Sacred Wish.
Yeah, I agree with everything
Andrew,
you
you
said.
got anybody for that?
Yeah, believe it or not, I have 2 other great friends, actually probably better friends than you two to me. Their names are Randy Moss and Jerry Bailey. And I was talking to them the other day. They said Feza no matter what. So I'm going Feza. All my money on Feza.
Yeah, Andrew pulled out the yellow Post-it, says Feza no matter what on it. I love it. The only other horse in here I think worth mentioning is number 3, Hoosier Filly. A lot of hype around this horse coming into the 3-year-old season. I think she even closed at 12 to 1 in one of the Derby future pools, not Oaks future pools. It's kind of ridiculous. On her first race back, she got 3rd behind Pretty Mischievous and Miracle. Back off second off layoff, she also finished behind Pretty Mischievous and the Alice Look. Pretty Mischievous ended up winning the Oaks, so maybe she was just really good. But maybe Hoosier Filly just didn't like fairgrounds. Maybe she just needed the get right races. So shipping here, fairly weak field outside of Feza. I think Hoosier Filly might get back in the winner's circle. So worth a shot there. And she's 10 to 1, which she hasn't been above 6 to 5 since her debut. Never, literally in her whole life. She was even money, 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 6 to 5. So 10 to 1 on a horse that's never been above 2 to 1. So I think you got good value there if you want it.
I totally agree. I think she's got a lot of upside. If she just hated fairgrounds and she gets back to her A race, I think she's got a ton of upside. So great pick there. I'm also going to play her a little sprinkle.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about Feza. Feza, dominated the California circuit. Bob Baffert's coming out here. She won her races by 6 lengths last out, 2.5 before that. Half length head, 3.5. Never had a Brisnet speed figure under 89, which is better than every single other horse in this race. So she's definitely a deserving favorite. I think Andrew, all money through her, probably the good choice, but we can get spicy with some exactas.
Question for you guys. Do they do a Black Eyed Susan Preakness daily double?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, just hammer it straight $100 on Feza
Yeah.
Mage.
Get a crispy $100 bill from the bank tomorrow.
From
And
Edition
then,
Financial.
Yeah, go to Edition, get a crispy 100. Put it right on Phase and Mage. And then what do you get? Like $50 back from that?
All right. Probably. All right. All right. So that wraps up our show. Appreciate you all for watching. Thank you again to John and Andrew for joining me here. I'm Horse Guy Mike, and may the juleps be with you all. Good luck.